YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and here we are at just about the end of NFL Week 6. And I got an updated mock draft. I already did one of these during the season. I just want to keep doing these because we got some new top prospects or some guys entering into the first round, some guys that are really catching my eye. So I want to keep updating these. I'm using the current NFL order, so I didn't create this order. I'm not making any predictions off the order. I know people will probably skim through the video and complain to me on me predicting the Super Bowl or the playoffs, but I'm not. It's just the current order. It'll probably change, but it probably won't be too far off. Teams will be in the same range. But these videos here, the way too early mock drafts, are more about learning about the prospects and maybe fits. So that's what we're here for. We'll update these a bunch. We have full NFL coverage going on in season, all kinds of power rankings, prediction, all kinds of stuff. We got you covered. Twitter, live tweeting during games, constantly talking football, NFL draft, Instagram, podcast, Patreon, a lot going on. 60K, that's our subscriber goal. Please help us get there. It'll be well worth it to subscribe. Full coverage here on the channel. Real quick, let's take a look at the Patreon. A bunch of extra content in season with predictions, locks, for NFL, college football, playoff predictions, bonus content, always adding more. In the offseason, we got all kinds of extra draft content as well, keeping you guys up to date. So check it out, link in the description. But again, using the current order right now, basically learning about prospects. So the Jets right now have the first overall pick. I have them taking maybe the best quarterback in draft history, best prospect ever, maybe in Trevor Lawrence. Trying to figure out what the best trait is to his game. It's like everything is towards the top. I mean, makes the NFL throws already. The ability to throw on the run. Just a smart quarterback overall. And the strength and mobility is kind of the bonus as well. What a game against Georgia Tech too. Putting up 73 points, throwing for over 400, well over 400 yards. Ridiculous. So I mean that would be the pick. Some people still on Darnold. I'd say if you are, there's a bit too much of attachment there. Yes, he can get better. Yes, he can be better with better weapons, I suppose. But how much better? Are you thinking he's going to take that much of? I mean, Trevor Lawrence, plain and simple, much better. You don't pass on a guy like this, the most important position in football. Washington would have the second pick right now. Tough choice here because I think Trey Lance is a pretty good fit. I think it's a Cam Newton-like quarterback with Ron Rivera, who, huge Cam Newton guy, obviously. Not just because he coached him, but you can just see how much he was a huge Cam Newton fan. So I thought about Trey Lance, but Trey Lance is an interesting one. Some teams will be in on him early. Some teams just won't. One performance we get to go on here in this year against Central Arkansas. Pretty rough game. Has the big plays. We know he can run, but not the best game. But you can't go off that one game. Last year, the tape looks pretty good. But one of those guys you kind of worry about, is he only playing great when things are going so well? He didn't have those moments where he had to kind of dig himself out of the hole, dig the team out of the hole, throw the ball over more than 30 times, not too many times in his career, I think only twice. So it's a risk pick there, but so Justin Fields is the better prospect at this point. Pretty complete prospect with a lot of upside. I talked about it. In today's NFL, obviously he needs to be able to throw first, which these guys can do, but you got to be able to move. I think the pure pocket passing quarterbacks that just throw from the pocket, can roll out a little bit, but can't really use their legs to speed up the play of the plays or even downfield, whatever it may be. Those guys are starting to fail, even if they're pretty accurate. So Justin Fields having the leg factor is pretty good. The Giants take Penei Sewell. They probably should be in the market for their quarterback of the future because I don't think Daniel Jones is it. But they probably won't be. I think there'll be a kind of a controversy between the coaching staff versus Gettleman, maybe split thoughts. But Penei Sewell is maybe one of the better tackles in the last, I don't know how many years in terms of the prospects out of Oregon. He fits any scheme, very good power blocker, will be excellent run block and pass protection. He's a complete prospect here, absolute stud. The Giants, Andrew Thomas has struggled this year. I'm not really too worried, but I would like him at right tackle. I talked about that in the offseason. I think that was the plan, to start him at right tackle and to start Nate Solder at left tackle. Solder opted out, so that kind of affected that whole thing. So bring in Sewell, play him at left tackle, play Andrew Thomas at right tackle. Matt Park could also have a chance to play right tackle. Or be a solid backup at both. But, I mean, you just get much better at a huge weakness here. Falcons, honestly, a team that probably should be on the lookout for the future quarterback. Matt Ryan's still got an arm, but he's not going to last forever. Also, that mobility, like I talked about, kind of affecting those types of quarterbacks. Falcons just continue to struggle to find pass rush. Grady Jarrett's really got to carry the load there in the interior. They need to find an edge rusher. Gregory Rousseau is a stud. It's a shame that he opted out. Really good pass rush from the outside, but we've seen him play different spots. Seen him play like a D tackle spot / 3 technique. Seen him line up at nose tackle and dominate there. The length of the arms, reaching across, offensive linemen, making plays. But he has the traits. He has the moves off the edge, which is more important. So the Falcons get something they desperately need there, but could be on the lookout for their future quarterback. The Jags pulled the trigger on Trey Lance, 5th overall. Like I said, kind of a mixture between Cam Newton, Carson Wentz, has the big playability, can run, can throw on the run, really good arm strength. It's risky because I've yet to see him dig himself out of a hole, play when everything's not going great. Kind of in the one game this year, it was kind of like that. He didn't really play all that great. But yeah, big play guy, a lot of potential, strong dude, really strong. I think somebody would take a shot. It's a boom or bust prospect. If he works out, he'll be a Pro Bowler. If he doesn't, it's gonna be a major bust, I think. And Kyle Trask, one that has been climbing up, and it's a risky one as well because not the biggest sample size, but was pretty good last year. But I think it's kind of a good thing in a way. The progression he's made, the upside that he has off the limited reps. I mean, the development with the footwork, the pocket presence and the footwork is rare, insanely rare. And I don't think I mentioned I had the Vikings taking him. We'll kind of talk about the Vikings in a second, but yeah, the improvement Trask has made. Sometimes a little too patient in the pocket, but I do like that he's calm, relaxed, no panic. I think that's a big problem. Even for good quarterbacks, sometimes they start to panic, and that's what caused them to go downhill and things. So he's been impressive. Pretty accurate quarterback, can run, pretty strong build. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins really struggling. And they may need to, the Vikings are weird because they're like consistently a pretty decent team where it feels like they're never picking down here. Never a great team, it feels like, but, it feels like they're never picking down here. So your only shot here, and they haven't really had a shot to take an offensive lineman, but with Sewell gone, who they would be really high on, too early to take anybody else at 6 perhaps, but a chance to get a quarterback, they may do it. I feel like they would like Trask, a lot of upside. I think Cousins will be the starter next year, 2021, and I think he'll be gone after that. Does have another year on the contract, but they built the contract where probably next year will be his last year unless he's great, which he probably won't be. So get the guy here, Trask, and it's a possibility that he can go earlier than expected. Jamar Chase for the Dolphins. The Dolphins don't really have giant needs actually for a team with 2 first-round picks. They can get better in some spots, but they've already started to build the team in those spots. The offensive line's improved. They have the quarterback for the future. Their receivers are pretty good already, but Jamar Chase is one of the better receiver prospects of all time. The combination of everything, physicality, fighting off corners, but the footwork, I think the footwork goes unnoticed because he has those big plays downfield where he kind of fights off the corner, makes that strong catch. He has that big playability, but the underneath things kind of go unnoticed. The footwork is next level. Excellent route runner, excellent everything. Preston Williams has been pretty good, but having Chase and Parker as your 2 number 1s, with Tua, pretty unstoppable. So I think too good to pass at this point, and I think is maybe a little more of a need than people think. And the Chargers go receiver as well. Jaylen Waddle, one of the better deep threats in football, electrifying player. You can get him the ball any way you want. Just impresses every single week. The Chargers need that. Keelan Allen's kind of a do-it-all guy. Mike Williams is the contested catch guy. Let's get Justin Herbert this speed threat here to fit his game with the downfield ability as well. Perfect fit. This would be a great pick for the Chargers here at 8 if they have that number 8 pick. As of now, they do. Next, the Eagles get Micah Parsons, so they kind of get a gift here. Probably better than number 9 overall prospect, a dominant linebacker that could be used in multiple ways. Off-the-ball linebacker, but a pretty good pass rusher as well. You can use him in the blitz game, but very good at covered, high motor, sideline-to-sideline guy, total package type of guy. Eagles would love to have him. Their linebacker unit is brutal right now. The Bengals at 10, Wyatt Davis, probably the better interior guy. It's a battle between him and Trey Smith. But yeah, the interior pressure affects, them more than anything because it's a quicker trip to the quarterback. So kind of solidify that first year. So they take Wyatt Davis from Ohio State. Jaycee Horn really making his way up the board, at least for me, but I would think for everybody. The South Carolina quarterback, the first cornerback off the board here. For the Lions, I think, they drafted Jeff Okudah last year. And I don't really like valuing, corners ahead of like pass rush per se. But if it's okay, if you have the rare opportunity to build a complete cornerback duo, like a potential future elite cornerback duo, then it's well worth it. You got Okudah last year. Jaycee Horn is the total package. I mean, this game against Auburn that he just had, and I want to see more of him, but he's had a pretty good resume, pretty good tape as well. But that game against Auburn, that might have been one of the best college cornerback performances that I've seen, really, maybe ever. It was a total package type of corner performance. The physicality really stands out. Staying with the receiver, playing against Seth Williams too, a physical dude. So showing that. But I think the instincts too, getting his head around, looking at the quarterback at the right time, being able to read a quarterback, Seth Williams at the same time, just making play after play for himself, for the team. I mean, what a performance. Can't wait to see more of that. He caught my eye. You don't play like that, and he's had other good performances. You don't play like that a mistake. Cornerback is a very hard position to play. Dominant performance. If the Lions compare Jaycee Horn with Jeff Okudah, man, they got an elite cornerback future there. Maybe not right away. Cornerbacks take some time, right? Remember. But that'd be interesting. Zach Wilson to BYU. So two guys that are probably the biggest stock up right now. The cornerback from South Carolina, the quarterback from BYU, Zach Wilson. Stock is up. Likeable dude. I like this guy a lot. I think a pretty clutch thrower as well. Has that big playability. Has the ability to move, throw on the run. I think it's a guy, when you want to identify quarterbacks, you want to identify if you need to build the offense for him or build the offense around him. Sounds like the same thing, kind of, but it really isn't. Build the offense for him. That means you're kind of making it easier for him. We're going to build the guy for him. We're going to make this better for him. Build it around him. He creates the system. He's the featured guy. I think that's a mistake teams make. And what I've seen at this early stage, even though we need to see him play better competition, he doesn't have the greatest. I mean, he was good in the past, but based on the past, he's not this pick at all just this year. But the play I see, either you can build around him. This could be the feature guy. This could be the offense. Big playability, a lot of upside. We've seen him grow. I want to see improvement. That's what I want to see with quarterbacks. We've seen that. Patriots take the shot in this guy. Is Cam Newton the long-term answer? They definitely can sign him for another year, but no, he's not the long-term answer. The Patriots, if they're picking 12, which right now they are, they have the rare opportunity of getting a quarterback like this. I'm a Wilson fan. Definitely want to see more. Likeable kid, and the big playability. I think you could build the offense. I think he is the offense, is my point. I think he can be. I think I had Kyle Pitts going to the Cowboys last time, just liked it a lot. Schultz has really taken a step up, but Pitts is one of the better receiving tight ends maybe ever. We've seen him sometime. I mean, the guy's an absolute freak. Great route runner, excellent footwork, great contested catch, great hands, big playability. But can he play in line and block? Yes, he can. He can run routes from in line. He can run from the slot. So excellent tight end prospect. Cowboys pair him with those receiver units. I mean, we're talking maybe best offense in football. Broncos take Alex Leatherwood. Offensive line could be worse for them. Might have been a little worse last year, but still pretty bad. They're allowing pressure. They might not be allowing as many sacks, but they're allowing pressure constantly. Leatherwood's a really solid prospect here from Alabama. Really good year so far. So they grab him at the starter right away, mainly the future tackle there, pair of Drew Lock. Niners take Trey Smith. Offense line had a pretty good performance last night where they just played Sunday Night Football against the Rams. But other than that, they've been allowing interior pressure pretty quick. And that was a big reason, the Niners their offensive line was great last year. I think it was basically scheme-based. So you get the talent in there. Trey Smith's a mean dude, really good blocker. I like Trey Smith a lot. Big Trey Smith guy. Former tackle. I think he could start at tackle in the NFL. I think he could, but he's just a dominant guard as well. So kind of get a 2-for-1 there. Panthers need another corner, pair with Dante Jackson. In my opinion, Patrick Surtain, a guy that Joe Brady got the chance to see playing against Alabama. And they were kind of throwing away from him a bit. So it's a really good lockdown corner on the outside that also can be a playmaker. So I think make the defense better there, for the Panthers. Next group picked the Dolphins with in the second pick, Dylan Moses, linebacker from Alabama. Rangy dude. I can catch him getting in the backfield as well as covering. Athletic dude for sure. High motor guy. Could go earlier in this. The injury last year could scare people, but I think that's starting to quiet down a little bit because he's going strong so far this year. The Dolphins, I think it'll be ideal to pair him with Jerome Baker, having two of those guys out there, Jerome Baker and Dylan Moses, for that Brian Flores type defense, and giving Van Noy more freedom to pass rush, which he's been doing quite a bit of this year. I think kind of give him more of that freedom to do what they want makes a lot of sense to me. The Cardinals, the defensive line's pretty brutal. They could stop the run better, and they can definitely get more of a pass rush pressure from the defensive line. Marvin Wilson is that type of dude there. He's always getting his hands on the ball too. A guy that's gonna get his hands, tip the ball. Pass deflections are pretty key with him. Saints take Caleb Farley, a guy that can go a lot earlier in this. I think J.C. Horn now having him as the top corner pushes Farley back. Farley also opting out this year kind of hurts him a little bit maybe, but the measurables and athletic ability are just for sure there. Defensive coaches are going to fall in love with this type of, the athleticism with the length, with the physicality, and the play. The play has to be there as well, so that's fantastic. The Saints definitely need more secondary help. Secondary has not been good this year. Raiders, another team that are pretty complete, just about developing guys. They don't really have major needs, but getting more of a pass rush from the D-line there at the same time and getting more of run-stopping abilities where Christian Barmore from Alabama makes sense there. Liam Eichenberg, left tackle from Notre Dame, I think completing that last piece of the puzzle. Offense line's been good. Donovan Smith has been hot, but hot and cold, mainly on the cold side. So adding Eichenberg, that left tackle, can complete this offense line for Tom Brady and whoever the future quarterback is. Devontae Smith, probably a better prospect than 22 overall. Excellent route running ability, excellent footwork. You see him attack the ball at its highest point, but even attacking the ball, running at it when it's ground level, or he has to keep his feet on the ground. Very smart, big play receiver. Really good, along the sideline, but really everywhere. The Colts can use that type of guy for sure. There. The Browns go Shaun Wade. I think having that dominant nickel corner, that slot corner, can do wonders, pairing with Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams if he works out for the future. Shaun Wade could be a Pro Bowl level slot corner. Outside, he can be pretty solid, but he right off the bat, I think he could be a dominant level slot corner. That's where he's thrived, and it's a very important position. Key piece to the Ohio State defense there. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, what do the Jaguars need on defense? My problem with, they need more players in general. They need more pieces. My problem, I talked about it during the year, is speed. I don't know if they have speed to the ball. After the ball's past the line of scrimmage, attacking the ball on the angle, having the right angle, but having that speed to the ball. And if there's a prospect I can pick by what I just said, it is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. That is his game. He is always flying. He flies in the backfield as well. He can play almost a nickel. He can cover from the slot as well. He's almost built like a really, built safety, but he's today's style linebacker. I think pairing him with Miles Jack and Schobert is exactly what they need there. Run more three linebackers, because that level of play, if they're relying on Miles Jack to get across the field too much, I think that's the perfect style guy. He has that big play, high motor ability, sometimes a little too much. It overextends plays and will miss a tackle. Not too often there. He's usually pretty sure. But, yeah, that's a perfect type of guy that the Jaguars need there. In the last few picks here, Asante Samuel Jr., who's instinctive. He's always kind of reading where the ball's going to be, know where the ball's going to be, playmaker. The Bills desperately need to find a guy for Josh Norman. Tre'Davious White to possibly replace Josh Norman, which he's still got maybe a little left in the tank. But so Tre'Davious White, Asante Samuel Jr. was a big fan of his father. I thought he was extremely underrated. One of the better corners of the last, how many years I really thought. So Samuel Jr. really catching my eye there at Florida State. Bills could use some more pass rush too. They get pressure, but they're not getting the quarterback down. So that could be a thing as well. Chiefs Dylan Raduns from North Dakota State, really solid tackle, left tackle for them, really good run blocking, also very good pass protecting as well. The Chiefs need to start planning for the future. They paid all these other guys. Will they be able to pay guys like Eric Fisher, guys like Mitchell Schwartz? Maybe one of them or maybe neither of them. And they don't want there to be a moment where Mahomes is not protected. They're without one of those guys or without a replacement. So they're going to be smart about this. They will. So they grab that tackle there. Packers take Rashad Bateman, almost Devontae Adams-like in a way. Really good contested catcher, but can pretty much do it everything. Middle of the field, really good route runner. But, yeah, excellent attacking the ball. I think, Pairing him with Devontae Adams would be fantastic. The Bears, I went a little bold here, maybe a little bold, not really in my view, but I think other people think it's bold. Travis Etienne, which could be the first running back taken. I really like Kylen Hill from Mississippi State because he's almost like that Kamara, poor man's Kamara type receiver, which is taking or running back, which is kind of taking over today's NFL, but Mississippi State's really struggling right now, and he's not able to get a whole bunch of action, so it's kind of hurting his draft stock. But Etienne, what I like about him is getting more involved in the passing game. The Bears are one-dimensional right now. They can't get a running game going. It's a mixture because Montgomery's good. They even got Cordell Patterson going. Those guys are good, but are they great? And the offensive line could be a little better run blocking, but there could be much worse. Other running backs kind of find ways because those running backs are great. Etienne makes them they're way better with Etienne at running back in terms of that position. They need more playmakers on offense. Their offense can't score a lot of points right now and they're doing very good. It's a very good team. Look at they're picking 28 if it ended right now, but they need more of this. And Etienne's top-tier running ability combined with now what he's added, that big play pass-catching ability. And it's similar to what Nagy's trying to run through those wheel routes to the running backs, those screens to the running backs. That is where Etienne thrives, the big play ability. So I think the Bears get that much better on offense with a guy like Etienne. So that makes sense to me. Patrick Jones, after Rousseau, might be one of the better edge rushers in the class from Pittsburgh. He's consistently getting that pressure, consistently getting those sacks. The Ravens need another edge rusher. They could use another receiver as well, but they rely on the blitz too much. And when the blitz doesn't work, which most of the time it does during the regular season, but when they play really good contending teams, they figure out a way. When the blitz doesn't work, the defense isn't the same. And the way to fix that is get pressure. You can still get pressure by having good edge rushers. They can get better there. Patrick Jones would be a pretty solid pick there. Steelers, offensive line is actually playing a little better than expected, but they're going to have to kind of retool to get it ready for the future. They could be looking for a quarterback in the future, but I don't know about pick 30 and about maybe not right now. But Creed Humphrey, I'm a little cautious on the Big 12 offensive linemen. They don't really tend to work out all that great, and it's because it's just everything's so quick, and they don't really have the best pass rushers coming for them. They don't have to block for long, so it is the step up, the task, the transition to going from college to the NFL for really any player, but for specifically Big 12 type, or those similar conference type offensive linemen, it's a big jump. But he's impressive. The tape's impressive. A guy that I think could play any interior spot there, so the Steelers could use him to retool. The Jets get that receiver they desperately need, the speed to give to Trevor Lawrence there if they were to get him in this scenario. So a guy that can play slot outside, has got some comparisons to Tyreek Hill. In the way of speed and big playability, sure, but I'm not really full on with those comparisons. But it's coming from there's a reasons he's getting it, because on the end of the day he's got that electrifying speed and he has great big playability. He's got great play in general. So the Jets need a guy like that. They drafted Denzel Mims last year. They have Crowder, so having those three kind of complement each other, I think fantastic. The Titans go Javon Holland, the DB from Oregon. What I like about Javon Holland is he has experience at outside corners, he has experience at safety, he has experience at slot corner, and I think he plays all very well. I think he's a pretty instinctive guy, can be a playmaker. The Titans can kind of use any of that. I think they can get better at the slot position. I think it can start at the side. It's very important to them. Because they run a lot of 3 pass rush plays. They rush 3, and they rely on having multiple guys in the secondary. So I think having Holland back there, whether it's I think mainly playing in the slot they would like most, but he can play outside, kind of pair him with a Dory Jackson, but they drafted Fulton as well last year. He may be a little, not really struggling, but maybe a little struggling, but that's a young corner. That's what they tend to do, so I'm not really worried about him. But then maybe he can take over in the future playing alongside a guy like Kevin Byard, which I've liked Vaccaro's play, but is he long-term is kind of the question. So you kind of get a 3-for-1 here, but you help your team right away where it's also a big need where I think he can dominate early on from the slot. So that pick makes a lot of sense to me. But that's the mock draft for now. Still a way too early mock draft, kind of just getting to know the prospects and where their stock is at and where maybe they can fit, what types of schemes they can fit. So, again, this draft order is based on right now. Things will change, and we update mock drafts more than anybody. We got full draft coverage in the offseason, unlike anyone else. We got full NFL coverage in season right now, so please smash that like button. Please subscribe, turn notifications on so you don't miss a thing. Would really appreciate that, and I appreciate you for watching this video. That is going to do it. Goodbye.